All right, so today we are going to look at computer security. Yeah, so based on our earlier discussion, we looked at computer networks, and we said that one of the major bottlenecks of actually networking computers is actually the security aspect, right? So we are going to look at cyber security, of course, using computers online and other related computer stuff. Yeah, so we're going to look at some form of attacks to our computers, how we can prevent these particular attacks. Yeah, and just to mention the procedures of coming up with a good security policy. Yeah, so the definition of computer security, normally we refer to it as cyber security. Yeah, so cyber computer security, IT security, ICT security, all these, yeah, mean one thing. Yeah, so as I'd mentioned, the computer security actually refers to protection, yeah, of computer systems, either from the theft, damage, it could be hardware, software, yeah, or even any form of disruption. So we're going to look at the fundamentals of computer security, yeah, right from the building blocks, and how also we can thwart those particular intrusions, disruptions, or any other form of insecurity. Yeah, so of course, in as much as I'm saying that computer security and cyber security are the same, there's little difference. Cyber actually ensures that we have some kind of online connection, yeah, but major still the security aspect relies on the computer. Yeah, so all of them actually refer to the protection of hardware. Of course, we need software, yeah, from attackers. Yeah, so we have so many forms of or elements of cyber security. Of course, we have information security. So what are these? Information security refers to securing our data. Yeah, and I think this is the major component or major element that we need to focus on when actually securing our computers. Yeah, what is the main thing that maybe organizations, why organizations invest, yeah, so heavily in securing their computer systems? Yeah, so data is majorly the main reason as to why we need to purchase expensive equipments just to protect it. Of course, network, yeah, when we are having connection, yeah, we need to establish some secure environment of how users can share resources, yeah, like files and so on. Of course, we have application security. Yeah, we are going to look at the various softwares. Yeah, so we have the operating system security, we have the application security. Yeah, so from whichever angle that we might think of, yeah, the application security affect, yeah, most applications that we use. Yeah, it could be web browsers. How do we secure our web browsers? Yeah, we also have the network applications, yeah, like the how we transfer our emails and so on. So that one is very, very important when it comes to cyber security. Of course, we need to educate the users who use our computer systems. Yeah, because someone is going to say that, of course, you didn't tell me that I should not come with flash disk to this particular lab. Yeah, so people should understand the consequences of their actions. Yeah, so that at least we have some kind of policy that is going to dictate how we use or utilize our computer systems within the organization. For instance, when you go to RIARA, maybe within the lab, you'll have some kind of guidelines of what to do and not to do. Yeah, so education or user education is very, very important. And of course, we all hope that everything goes well as planned. But in case we don't really achieve the objectives, we need to plan for business continuity. Yeah, So business continuity is whereby in case of an attack, we are able to be up and running. Yeah. So maybe if our computers are grounded, do we have another option of maybe proceeding with our normal business operations? So these are very important thing. Yeah. So we have incidences and we have disasters that can ground our businesses. So we need to actually plan for how we can continue our business operations. So this actually informs us why we need to have a thorough understanding of computer security or cyber security. So what are some of the benefits? Benefits of cyber security. So number one, of course, is to protect against these malicious attacks. Yeah, we have ransomware. We are going to look at what they are. Yeah, malware, social engineering, and phishing. Yeah, so all these, yeah, is courtesy of cyber security, how we can thwart them. Of course, we have the users who interact with our computer systems. We need to protect end users. Yeah, we ensure that their data are confidential. We have some kind of integrity, and they can easily access the resources within the network security. Of course, it gives good protection for both data as well as network. So that one you have seen. Yeah, so data is very, very important. And of course, we have talked about business continuity. If we have the correct measures, yeah, of increasing recovery time after a breach, that could serve right, and that is a benefit of cybersecurity. Of course, it helps us narrow down to potential threats or unauthorized access to our resources. Those people who don't have legit permissions. Yeah, so we can be able to prevent them. So all said, we can now see that cybersecurity will benefit us in different ways, and most importantly, we need to look at how we can protect our data. So there are some terminologies that we need to familiarize ourselves with, like when you're talking about computer security. Yeah, if someone talks about unauthorized access, yeah, you are not authorized to access, so that means you are unauthorized. Yeah, so if someone gains access maybe to a lab without the right credentials, if you are not a student or a RIARA student, yeah, and you happen to access our network, we say you have an authorized access. Yeah. Also, if you access the server, website, or any computer system, yeah, without the right permissions, we say that is an authorized access. Of course, we have the hacker, and I believe this is a common term that most of us have used. So a hacker or an attacker, yeah, is a person who has a malicious intention of exploiting a computer resource, yeah, either for his or her personal benefit, for some reward, yeah, or just for fun, right? Some of us who have done computers, some of us, you just try to hack something, yeah, just for fun, yeah, showcase your skills, right? Threat, this is what we call it an action, yeah, or an event that might compromise the security. Yeah, like for example, you have weak or a weaker security system, so that's just a threat. Yeah, of course, we have vulnerability, being vulnerable. Yeah, even in case you have attended or you have or you have had some sorry for that. Yeah, or whether you have attended or have some appointment with the doctor, they'll tell you maybe you are vulnerable to this particular climate or food or disease or something. Yeah, so that means that your body, maybe there's a problem. Yeah, so it cannot stand maybe you have some particular disease, so you are vulnerable. So this is a weakness. This is a weakness or a design flaw, either when implementing the software, network, or hardware. Yeah. So in case we have some kind of weaknesses, yeah, maybe the security was not.
Yes, Mr.
Yes.
I have a question. Would
Yes.
you want to comment about ethical hacking? Because I see you have said that it has to be malicious or fun,
Mm-hmm.
but are there situations where hacking can be justified?
All right. Thanks. Of course, we are looking at it from the grave side. Yeah, we are looking at this hacking process at this particular time as a threat to the security. However, just like policemen, yeah, policemen are good people, but also we have rogue policemen. Yeah. Now, ethical hacking is an effort to thwart the illegal hacking process. Yeah. So when we talk about hacker, here we just mean a person who really doesn't have some right intention. Yeah. So ethical hacking, of course, is the best option. Yeah, of actually trying to do what, to thwart or to bring back whatever the hacker has done, so that at least we can be up and running in case it is a fault within a network or computer. So yes, I'll comment as you have suggested that ethical hacking is actually good. Yeah, but of course we have the other side where people don't really want to do it right. Yeah, and that's what you are trying to look at as a hacker. So this is a person who doesn't have the right motive. So I think I've answered you. But ethical hacking, yes, that is a right option, and it's really allowed. Yeah. Um, Now we have an attack. Yeah, attack. Now it is that particular action that the hacker uses. Yeah, so when the hacker springs into action, yeah, we say they kind of execute an attack. Yeah, so they can have some various forms of attack, whether to the hardware, to the software, and so on. Yeah, but the real intention here is to violate the security or compromise the security system. Of course, we have antivirus or anti-malware. Yeah, so this is a way of actually ensuring that we install, yeah, some softwares that can help us eradicate these malicious softwares, yeah, or viruses as per se. Because we all know that if we don't have antiviruses in place or anti-malwares, of course we are prone, or we are vulnerable, yeah, to being attacked through the softwares. So not only do we have to install the antiviruses, but it's good to actually update them, as we are going to see. Yeah. Another terminology, of course, is social engineering. This is a very famous way that hackers use to actually capture information from the users. Like, for example, I don't know how many have been called. Yeah, someone pretending to know more about you. Yeah, so they kind of do or perform social engineering. Yeah, I could call you and ask you, hey, hi, Steve, are you from Riara? Yes, I'm actually the ICT admin. So I want you to give me a username, yeah, and password, so that I can do something on your machine, because we need to do this and that. That's social engineering. So this is somebody who has some kind of information, yeah, that wants to pretend, yeah, to know you, or to sit in a position that they can get some confidential information from you. Yeah. So social engineering is used widely, and we need to take note of that. Of course, we have virus. Where we have virus, I've said we need to have antivirus. Yeah. So we are going to look at viruses, malwares, and so on. Another terminology that we need to familiarize ourselves with is firewall. A firewall could be in form of a hardware or software. Now, like for example, if you have a router, we had talked about network last time we met, yeah. So we said that a router is a network device that allows you to access the internet, right? Now that means a router can also be configured to be a firewall, in that when you are accessing the internet, at least you can be able to filter incoming traffic from the internet or actually outgoing traffic. Yeah, so it depends. Yeah, so in a normal organization setup, we normally have a firewall that can be able to filter. Like for example, if the ICT admin within RIARA decides that students are not going to access Facebook, yeah, so that is a firewall that is actually preventing you to access particular sites based on some given traffic rules. So we normally establish access lists that permits people to visit particular sites and not to visit particular sites. And of course, you can also have firewalls that limit, yeah, the duration or the time frame of accessing a particular network resource. Very good. Now, we have basic security concepts that also we need to understand. Yeah, talking about the building blocks. Confidentiality, right? Confidentiality refers to a situation whereby only authorized individuals can access the network resource. Yeah. Integrity is a term or a concept where data does not change. Yeah. Like for example, if you have database, yeah, we need to ensure that the database remains at a consistent state all the time. Like whatever you entered within the database must be the same thing that you get outside that particular integrity. If that is achieved, then we say that integrity has not been compromised. In a situation whereby maybe you send an email or you send data to your recipient, yeah, then they realize that the content of the message has been altered, we say that the integrity has been compromised. So that's just an example of integrity. Of course, we have availability. Right now, you can be able to access whatever I'm saying or whatever I'm displaying because of the available resources. Available resources with respect to the internet. Yeah. So suppose someone somewhere decides to tap to your internet connection, and maybe you are offline. You can't be able to access this particular online discussion. So that means that you are not having the right available resource. So the idea whereby you can't be able to get to access a particular network resource, we say that availability has been compromised. So confidentiality must always be maintained, integrity must always be observed, availability must always be upheld. Of course, we have other aspects such as physical security, yeah, protecting our hardwares, protecting our labs, yeah, anything that you can be able to lay your hands on, and we should ensure that we have proper physical security. The question is, how do you achieve this? Yeah, if you look at the labs, you will realize that they have been locked down on the table. Yeah, so that means that that is just an attempt of physically securing the screens. Also, we can lock the doors. That is part of physical security. And of course, we have the privacy. Yeah, privacy. We talk about internet privacy, talk about data privacy. So there are many angles towards privacy. Yeah, but this is just to ensure that critical information, confidentiality, availability, all these are not on the wrong hands. Yeah, they should, if it's data, it should belong to you unless you share it willingly. Of course, we have market perception. So in case confidentiality is compromised, integrity, availability, all this is compromised, then we are going to have a negative market perception. Assume maybe you bank with a particular bank within our country, yeah, and the next day you get news that maybe hackers hacked maybe some amount of money, and maybe it has been happening over time, yeah. So the market perception actually is not that positive, and that will mean that maybe your customers might leave that particular organization to another one, and that will mean your competitors, other banks, will take advantage. Like for instance, now they'll have your customers, so that needs to be taken note of. This particular diagram shows how social engineering works, yeah. So I've just given you an example. So here is some kind of communication, like this person is saying, good morning, my name is John from your local that, I'm working on this and that, right? So it's good to ensure that whoever is calling and getting this information is legit, yeah. You can also ask the person some questions, yeah. If the person is pretending to be the person working for the ICT, yeah, also you can ask 2 or 3 more questions, yeah, so that at least you are sure that this is the right person. Otherwise, don't just give out information without really also asking some vital questions, yeah. So unless or until you have confirmed that this is the right person you're talking to, you don't really need to give away vital security information. Now we have a model here that also enables us understand how security works, or how we can reinforce security. Like for example, we have vulnerability as discussed, yeah. If this vulnerability is added to threat, we can have now the attack. Remember, vulnerability we talked about as weakness within the system, yeah. Threat is that conducive environment where an attacker can actually use, yeah. So if, for example, like let's say for example, someone gets access to our compound, or rather to the lab, yeah. So we say that they are a threat. If they are not students and they have accessed our labs, they are a threat by the virtue that they have, or they're in an environment that they can cause what? Harm. So once they are in that particular lab and they can get access to our computers, for instance, they don't have passwords and username, so our computers, you can say they are vulnerable, yeah. So this is an authorized person plus our computers not having passwords and username, create these additions that you say, vulnerable plus threat. And of course, they are now having the environment to do what? To cause an attack, yeah. So they can attack the hardware, maybe by taking it away, or getting access to the vital information within your computers and using them, right? Now, of course, we can have the firewall. We have the control mechanism, yeah. We can have detection systems to alert us that someone is actually there's some kind of intrusion within our network, yeah. So we can have control mechanism to actually reduce the impact levels that this particular person can be able to cause. So this is just a model that can help us understand how, at least how the security aspect works. Talking about vulnerabilities, yeah, we mentioned the design of the hardware or software, yeah. It could be also the network itself, yeah. So most vulnerabilities can usually be traced back to 1 or 3 sources as shown, yeah. Poor design. I think most of us, we have had many companies or manufacturers recalling their products. I believe there's a time Samsung had to recall some products, even vehicle manufacturers, yeah. Now, if they realize that there's some kind of design flaws in their systems or their products, it is always important to do it, to reinforce or to actually remove the loopholes, yeah. If this particular security loopholes are not worked on in time, then we say the system is vulnerable. Implementation aspect. Yeah, when you are developing a software or designing a particular product, it goes through different stages. Yeah, like for example, analyzing the situation, then designing up to implementation. Yeah, now the implementation of a particular product, be it a computer system, a network, and so on, needs to be done thoroughly. So implementation gives you room to ensure that at least everything works according to plan. Yeah, configuration is done properly. Yeah, users have been trained well to use the systems, and so on and so forth. So in case we have poor implementation, we can say now we are vulnerable. And of course, lastly, we have poor management. Yeah, now we say that any process that is not well managed, we actually will have a poor quality. Yeah, now talking about management, we need to have some right policies in place. Yeah, documented things that people can always look upon when they need some help. So we need to have supervisors in place, the right documents, so that we have good management. In case we have poor management, we can be vulnerable. Talking about vulnerabilities, we have different types. Of course, physical, I've already mentioned that, hardware, software, transmission of our data or email. Yeah, we have eavesdrops, people can listen to whatever you're sending. Yeah, so that is transmission. Also, as yeah, I think we are the number one causes. Yeah, the weakest link in any computer system is always the user. Yeah, if you're not putting your passwords properly, you just put them aimlessly where someone can access them. Where you are needed to have strong password, but you are using your name as a password. So that is human vulnerabilities, and that one can bring or cause some kind of problems. Of course, looking at the diagram, when you have vulnerability, also the threat. Yeah, this stuff or this kind of environment can cause our systems to be attacked. Yeah, so we have different types of threats. Yeah, of course, a threat is anything that can disrupt the operation, the normal operation. Yeah, so we have natural threats. These are things that we really can't they are beyond our reasoning, or we can't really control them. So these are floods, earthquakes. Yeah, so these ones we can't really handle. But we can have some business continuity plan in case they happen. We also have unintentional threats. Yeah, that result from accidents or carelessness of human beings. Yeah, we have said that you don't really have. Okay, your purpose was not really to use the weak password so that someone can use it again to access your account. Yeah, so it was unintentional. You didn't really use weak because yeah. So if that is we can call it stupidity or carelessness, I don't know. We have now intentional. Yeah, where a person or someone just now takes an action knowing the pros and cons or cons of that particular action. Yeah, they could have some ill motives. Yeah, malicious intent, right? So to cause harm. Yeah, maybe by taking your sensitive information, by bringing down the entire network, and so on. Yeah, so this could be as a result of unauthorized access, as you had mentioned. Also, malicious software. We are going to look at the different malicious softwares that we have. So attacks or understanding attacks. Of course, we have the security attack. We have said it's an action that compromises the normal running or operation. And of course, we have the security mechanism. Yeah, whatever is put in place. Yeah, either to detect. We can have fire detection systems, smoke detection systems, intrusion detection systems. Yeah, we can also have some kind of policies, models to help prevent. Yeah, and of course the right business continuity plan to help us recover. Yeah, in case there's a security attack. So these are security mechanisms. To help us facilitate all this, we need to have security service. Now, we talked about application security. We talked about network security. Yeah. Now, these security services are always configured. Yeah. So that any application that we run or handle within a network can always have some kind of security service. Yeah. Now, a network administrator can always disable a security or enable a security service. Mostly attackers try to disable any security service that is in place so that they can be able to do it, to act. Yeah. So security services must always be up and running to ensure that we don't have an attack within our network or systems. Now, of course, we have another diagram here that shows how attack happens. We have different forms of attack to confidentiality, to availability, and integrity. Like the first diagram, diagram A, this is how, or this is our intention to ensure that we have the normal flow of information. Yeah, when you send your email, you need to your intention is for it to arrive to the destination or to the recipient the way you sent it. Yeah. Okay, you can just mute the person who was unless you have a question. Now, we also need to have the network access of resources 24/7. Yeah, so normal flow ensures that everything works according to plan. But hey, suppose we have issues, like for example B, interruption. Yeah, you can see the line of communication is cut. Yeah, availability of resource. Now you can't get to the file server, you can't be able to print within the network, you can't be able to access your emails. Yeah, so that means that there is some kind of interruption within the network. So we say the availability has been compromised the way we had looked at it. C, also we see that there's some kind of interception. There's a kind of a third party, yeah, device that has been introduced. It could be a person, it could be a device, yeah, that is intercepting the normal flow of data. Yeah, so if someone is listening or if someone is getting a copy of the information that you are transmitting, so it's no longer confidential. So we say that confidentiality here has been compromised. So someone can have a rogue router on the network to tap into the normal communication. Yeah, they can have a website that tap. So there are a lot of interception that happens. Of course, the fourth diagram, we can see there's a modification. Yes, there's a full communication process, but there's a diversion. Yeah, so like your email goes somewhere first, someone modifies the content of the email. Yeah, is when maybe the other recipient receives it. Yeah, also there's a possibility the recipient doesn't receive it. Yeah, the person who has tapped your communication line can also reply. Yeah, so you could be thinking that it is the normal recipient who is replying. Yeah, but of course that is integrity issues. Yeah, whereby you modify the content of information and then it's not the way it was, yeah, when it was being sent. So that is integrity. It has been compromised. And then we have fabrication. Yeah, fabrication is whereby now we are not communicating with the normal sender or recipient. So they have already captured all your details. Yeah, so as you reply, like for example, if the intention was to capture your bank details, yeah, so right now you are providing the information to the wrong person. Either you could be using the wrong website. You think that it's the Riara University website, or it is the Equity Bank website. Yeah. So authenticity of this particular communication has already been compromised. So originality, everything has already been compromised. So these are forms of attacks that you're likely to get within our network system. Now, we can have passive and active attacks. Yeah, passive, there's no actually major changes to the data. This is like eavesdropping, yeah, whereby a potential hacker or attacker just observes, yeah, how you do things. Like they can use the keyloggers to monitor how you tap on the keyboard, capture your password, right? They could also listen to the kind of protocols that you normally use. I mean, there's no really active, yeah. So it's just about gathering information, yeah, so that they can use it for further attack. Now, when they spring into action, yeah, when they spring into action, they now execute whatever they had captured as passive. Yeah, like for example, if you leave your home, yeah, maybe you are going to school, so someone just monitors how your movements. It's the same thing as passive. Yeah, so they say Kennedy has left, now the person is going to school, so they know when you leave and when you get back to the house. Yeah, so that's just understanding how communication happens. But once they have succeeded to know the pattern of how you do things, now the active attack happens. So they can modify the data stream. Yeah, they can, now you can't really get access to the internet. Yeah, so here is where confidentiality is compromised, privacy issues comes into play, we have integrity issues, and so on. So we have the two categories, passive and active. Passive are not really modification of messages, but active, there is some actions that happens. Now, what are some of the things or measures that you need to put in place, maybe to help curb these particular problems that you have mentioned? Of course, we need to have user authentication. Yeah. Now, later we are going to look at operating systems and actually what are some of the functions of an operating system. Yeah, and one of the functions is to provide security. Yeah, that's why you are always prompted for your username and password, right? We also have firewalls. I think I've mentioned that, so there's not really need to also antivirus. Email scans are also a good security measures. Yeah, it's always good to scan your emails, yeah, before you actually open the content of the attachment. I was talking to another class and I mentioned that some of the email providers nowadays automatically they actually scan for your emails. Yeah, so if they realize that there's a potential threat, yeah, either they can warn you not to open that particular email, or if they have found out that it's 100% unsafe, they can always delete it. Yeah, so that's why you can sometimes wonder, how comes I don't see the content of this email? Now, I'd said that be it antivirus, be it application software, any software that you use, you need to actually update it, yeah, so that you ensure that all the security loopholes have actually been sealed. Yeah, so don't wait for someone to do it for you. Even if you're using your mobile phones, yeah, you need to do that particular update. When the phone or the operating system requires update, ensure that you update it. Of course, we are going to ask ourselves, how do I do or know that this particular update is from the right manufacturer or so on? Now, I'd mentioned that whether you have your phone, whether you have the computer, yeah, whether you have your SD card, anything, yeah, losing it is not that, it doesn't mean a lot, yeah. But when you have vital information, data, yeah, that is the value. Yeah, because I was telling my good friends that purchasing a server, yeah, is not the problem. Yeah, but how you are going to secure your server to protect the organization data is what matters a lot. Yeah, because even if we have a hacker who can maybe attack our servers, yeah, and render them useless, we can as well go and reconfigure the server and reuse it again. But what about our data that they have interfered with? Yeah, in case of an earthquake, yeah, we can lose the computers. Yeah, your phone can be stolen, you can purchase one. Yeah, but the data that you will lose actually could be hard to get. So that's why we talk about having some kind of recovery mechanism, just to ensure that you can proceed with your normal operation. So let's observe some basic computer security checklist. Any volunteer to read for us the checklist very fast? Any volunteer to read for us the checklist? Proceed, Jenny. Don't know whether I got your name right.
Dejeuner, it's fine, yeah.
Jenny, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, there are some basic things that every one of us in every operating system needs to do. Check if the user is password protected. Check if the operating system is being updated. Check if the antivirus and anti-malware is installed and updated. Check for the unusual services running that consumes resources. Check if your monitor is using a screensaver. Check if the computer firewall is on or not. Check if you're doing backups regularly. Check if your account has full rights or is restricted. Update other third-party softwares.
All right, thank you. Now, this particular security checklist, they kind of look hard to execute, but I was telling some good friends of mine that it has reached a point whereby we don't really need to leave security or computer security to only tech guys. Yeah, so it's upon us to really familiarize ourselves with how we can do some basic updates of softwares that you're using. Yeah, just checking that the antiviruses is updated. Yeah, those are things that we need to be aware of. Yeah, and of course we have the services that run within our computers. Yeah, now if you go to the task manager, like for example, if you use the Control Alt Delete and open the task manager, it's going to give you, yeah, a list of the running services. Always you can associate the services with some legit programs that are within your computer, especially if you find that there's some services that are running and they look weird. Yeah, you can always delete or remove them. Of course, screensaver is very important when it comes to protecting our data, and of course firewall. Do regular backups, yeah, so that you don't cry foul in case you lose your data. And of course update other third-party softwares. Now looking at data protection, because this is a major or the main thing that we need to secure within our network. I'm not saying that the rest are not important, but at the center of it all is data. Yeah, so data security is commonly referred to as the confidentiality, availability, and integrity of data. And I think all these three words, up to now, we need to really understand them. Yeah, we need to understand them. When we talk about security, we need to understand confidentiality, availability, and integrity. And of course, after all said and done, we need to have a way of continuing with our businesses and actually ensuring that we are up and running. So how do we ensure data security? So all information needs to be kept secure, as you have seen. We need to collect data for specific and lawful use. Yeah. Now this is about research. When you are collecting data, remember we are looking at data protection. Yeah. Do not collect data that you really don't need. Like for example, if you're doing research, if you don't need to ask someone if they are married or not, don't collect such kind of information. And of course, when you're doing research, always you need permission. You need permission from a lawful or any government office so that they permit you to do your kind of data gathering, right? So do not also collect more information than you actually need. So if it is you're doing a research for see, always use some subset of population. Yeah, so don't use a lot of information or gather a lot of information that you don't actually need. You can use 100 people if you want to do some research or analysis of about 300 people. Anyway, it depends with what kind of data or what do you want to do. Do not keep them for long. I think the procedures and policies that some organizations put in place, yeah, that after some period of time you can't access that particular data. Yeah. When you are required to provide, yeah, some data by the law makers, or actually not real law makers, but those people implement law, you need to provide, give them access, yeah, so that they do with them what they need to do. Key threats to data security. We have looked at most of them. Yeah, we have seen they can be destroyed by natural disasters. Of course, they can be deleted through by employees. Yeah, maybe for malicious reasons or accidentally. We never know. Yeah, of course, you can have faulty disks. Yeah, that can help can ensure that we don't have our data. We can lose our hard disks through crashing and so on. So these are the key threats to data security. Of course, we have looked at hardware. Yeah, we have mentioned what we know what hardware is. You can see there's a that diagram shows how it is the laptop has been locked. Yeah. Now with this on this age and time, day and time, we have many people connecting to the internet. Most of their devices are connected to the internet. Like for example, in your home, you realize that maybe you have 5 or 7 devices connected to the internet. Some even have their doors, yeah, their beds, everything connected to the internet. And this is what we refer to as the Internet of Things. With all this connection, we need to actually improve how we protect our physical systems from harm. Of course, we need to do personal security, what I refer to as user training. Yeah, people need to actually get to understand the do's and don'ts. Yeah, normally when you're told to do something, it's not because that particular lab technician or the network guy dislikes you. Yeah, it's because of maybe for some security purposes. Yeah, so we need to do a lot of personal training. Yeah, so on a weekly basis, monthly basis. It depends with the arrangements that the organization has made. Of course, you have software security, and I believe this is a major area that we need to look at, because here's where the malicious attack happens a lot. Yeah, you download files, they are seated within the software even before they reach the hardware. Yeah, so it is a very good idea to implement software security. Yeah, right from the user authentication, where you have your password and what and your usernames right into using those particular computer. Talking about user and password, normally you are required, yeah, to log in using your usernames and passwords in any computer system. This is a very vital procedure. Yeah, if you happen to get to a place where there is no need for you to provide your credentials, don't be happy. There's always some kind of a weird reason for that. Yeah, it's like entering a compound. There's no soldier. There's no someone to tell you, ask you, who are you? Yeah, like if you want to access Wi-Fi, yeah, you get a free Wi-Fi somewhere and like, hooray, I can now use this one. Yeah, be very cautious on this free stuff when it comes to security aspect. Yeah? We have user attributes that can also help us emphasize or actually improve our securities. You can use the biometric patterns. Yeah, maybe based on the kind of equipment you're using. Yeah, you can use the fingerprint and so on. You know how user attributes can be implemented. Talking about the software and specifically the operating systems, yeah, because this is whereby most of the security or insecurity happens or attack happens, and this is made possible by this particular program threats. Yeah, so we have Trojan Horse. Yeah, Trojan Horse, in a layman's language, is a program. It could be a file within your computer that looks legit. Yeah, like for example, you can save a file as with the name operating systems. Yeah, so you know that this is a good file. Yeah, but again, if you look at it keenly or closely, it's not the real file that you. So these are programs. You have not installed a particular application. It looks real. It looks like a real word program, but it's not. Yeah, so these are the Trojan Horse. Yeah, so also you can use a particular website that looks real, traps your login credential and so on. Of course, you have the trapdoor is another security threat when it comes to operating system. Yeah, normally this is a loophole or a security hole. Yeah, when it comes to the design holes, we talked about the design holes within the hardware and software. Yeah, so normally the hacker or the malicious attacker can always use these particular loopholes to perform some illegal action without actually some notification or knowledge of the user. We have the logic bomb. As the name suggests, bomb. Yeah, bomb always explode after some period of time or when it has been programmed to do so. Yeah, so we also have applications. We could have you have downloaded some stuff from the internet. Yeah, then you realize that after a period of time your computer starts misbehaving. Yeah, so it's always hard to detect when you have a logic bomb. Yeah, because they only activate themselves after some period of time. Viruses, I know we know about viruses. Yeah? Forget about COVID. Yeah, we have different viruses that can harm our computers. Yeah, so I know we can't name them, but these are malicious programs. Yeah, they are highly, very dangerous. That's why you are told update your softwares, do regular scanning of your use the antivirus to scan your computer, ensure that you don't download files if you have not done the email scans, avoid visiting sites that doesn't have proper security mechanism, and so on. Still within the operating system, we have system threats, which includes the worm. Yeah, now worm are very, I can say that they're not that lethal, but they cause some hindrance. Yeah, they can create some what we refer to as denial of a service attack. Yeah, here is whereby they consume your resources, such as memory of your computer. Yeah, so to identify where they are is always difficult, because they multiply. Some legit ones comes with office applications such as Word, Excel. Yeah, that's why sometimes if you have a corrupted application, yeah, they multiply. Yeah, we have also port scanning. A port is an entry. Yeah, it's an entry into the computer. It could be an entry via the network port. It could be an entry via the internet port, web port. So we have different types of port. When you are also downloading a file, the computer has a port to do that. Yeah, when you are accessing to a network, there's a port. Now these entry points always are being scanned by the potential hackers. Yeah, if they feel that these particular ports, they are not well secured, they can always use them to cause some damage. And of course, we have the denial of service attacks, distributed denial of service attacks. Yeah, so these are just intentions of ensuring that we don't use the network resources as scheduled. Yeah, so it could be through through the internet attack. It could be through also just network without internet. Yeah, whereby employees or other employees ensures that other employees don't get the right resource. Yeah, so employee-based attacks. Software threats, still we proceed with that, and we have the malicious programs that we need to look at. There are very many. When we talk about malware, yeah, actually malicious software, the short form of malware is malicious software. So there are very many, and we should ask ourselves, why are they many? Yeah, we should ask ourselves, why are they many? The reason is because we have hackers who continually develop them just to ensure that they can be able to execute some sort of attack. Like for example, someone could have a rootkit. The intention of having this rootkit, yeah, is to ensure that they can take hold of admin privileges within the computer. Yeah, so there's always a reason behind this particular malicious softwares, and that's why there are very many. Even from the diagram, I think some have like Trojan Horse. Yeah, these are latest, recent. Yeah, we have very many malicious softwares, and that's why it's important that you have an anti-malware software installed within your computers, and not only having them, but also ensure that they are updated. Yeah, so let's look at some of them. Yeah, we have said we have looked at virus. Yeah, so viruses, I think they are the most difficult to remove, especially those ones that affect the boot sector. Yeah, they can render your machine or any computing device useless in a minute. We have looked at worm. Yeah, so take note of that. We have also the Trojan Horse. Yeah, it's also a very dangerous malicious program. We have the spyware. Yeah, they kind of perform the eavesdrop. They collect or they spy on what you're doing. Yeah, we also have the ransomware. Yeah, ransomware, I normally say that is the latest state of art when it comes to cyber crime. Yeah, so this is whereby, and I think it has happened mostly in major organizations, whereby you can't be able to access your network resource until you give out some ransom. Yeah, pay for some ransom is when they release your network. Yeah, we also have the rootkit. I have said this one, they take access of your admin. When they have admin access, they can be able to manipulate a lot of network resources. And of course, we have the backdoor virus. Anything backdoor, they don't use the normal. It's like the one that I was saying, whereby they tend to look at the loopholes within the system. For instance, we have the rat. Rat is whereby they use different ports. Yeah, they can create a different port or mimic the original port and use the backdoor mechanism to access either your network resource or your computer system as a whole. Of course, you have the keyloggers. Yeah, keyloggers, these are softwares or programs that actually keep record of how you do it. You hit your keys. Yeah. For example, their intention is actually to steal your password or your pins. Yeah. So keyloggers are very bad. We have spoofing and phishing, and I think I've shared this within the OC so that at least you understand the difference. Yeah. Spoofing happens maybe after phishing. Yeah. Spoofing is whereby you have a fake email address or a fake website. I think I had mentioned this before. Yeah. So the names are closely related, spoofing and phishing, in that there's always some fake. Yeah. Spoofing, you can have a fake email address. Yeah. Like I send you an email address. Yeah. But it's fake. Normally, if you're not keen, maybe there's only one character. Yeah. There's only one character that is not legit, that can change everything. Sniffer. Yeah. They sniff whatever you do on the internet, sending emails, logging into different applications. Intention is to steal your vital digital properties. Social engineering, we have looked at that. Phishing, phishing is more of providing or clicking on a link. Yeah. Like someone is going to share with you links. Yeah. Before you click on links, try to avoid that. Yeah. You get someone with a fake email address sending you some fake web links. Yeah. But they look legit. Don't click on those particular links. I've shared with you that you can have a nice read about phishing and spoofing. Again, we have farming. Yeah. Now there's I believe it was last year, but one before Corona, there are people who are going for vacation in Mombasa, and they had some kind of website of a particular well-known organization that provides these vacation services. So they were charged less amount than the original company. Yeah. So most people went to that particular website and keyed in and paid. Yeah. And paid those particular amount. So when arriving at the place, like they wanted to get access to the rooms and everything, the company told them, my friend, yeah, we really didn't get your payments and so on. We don't even have your details. So that's an example of farming. Yeah, you're being redirected to a bogus web page without your knowledge. Yeah, and it happens a lot. Yeah, so don't just be happy that you have clicked on Riara email. Riara website and like, yeah, so I'm being taken to Riara website. Just to note that the URL has changed without your you knowing. So these are some of the malicious attacks that you need to take note of. So what are the consequences? Now, what are the consequences when there is a breach or a security breach? Any volunteer to read for us these particular consequences? A gentleman this time. We need to leave. Yeah, you have to read. read. A volunteer. Now, how will we help each other if you don't want to respond? Yeah. and you are there listening. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, even a lady, if you are there.
I can read.
Okay.
Yes, Daisy, you can read. Esther has also.
Consequences of network security breach.
Mm-hmm.
Loss of valuable clientele. Customers may withdraw their investments or money. Legal suits. The firm may suffer legal suits occasioned by the disclosure of private personal information.
Mm-hmm.
Financial loss. The company may lose money. Loss of partnerships and collaborations. Partners may feel insecure. Then there is loss of licenses and permits. The license may be revoked by the licensing authorities as a result of security breach. Loss of strategic and competitive advantage. When company trading secrets that allow the entity to carry out its business are divulged to the competitor. Soiled reputation. That would negatively impact the position of the organization.
All right, thanks. I think most of the consequences are self-explanatory, and we need to take note of that, especially from the organization level, even personal level. Yeah, like maybe looking at which one is this number. Don't know whether. Yeah, I think there are some. Yeah, like soiled reputation. Yeah, so in case someone hacks into our website or the other website, the chances that maybe they could post wrong content and so on, and this one could impact negatively. And of course, the example I gave for the bank, yeah, people will start fearing, yeah, that mostly the bank systems are not secure and we can lose our money. Yeah, so that's yeah. So these are some of the consequences. Mm-hmm. Potential losses. Mm-hmm. Any other person, a volunteer to read? Esther, I think you had raised up your hand. You can read for us this one now. Florence, you can go ahead.
Okay. Okay. So potential losses due to security attacks.
Mm-hmm.
One, losing your data. Your computer has been hacked or infected. There's a big chance that all your stored data might be taken by the attacker. Two, bad usage of your computer resources. This means that your network or computer can go in overload, so you cannot access your genuine. Number three, reputation loss. Just think if your Facebook account or business email has been owned by a social engineering attack and it sends fake information to your friends and business partners, you will need time to get back your reputation. Four, identity theft. This is a case where your identity is stolen into brackets photos, name, surname, address, and credit card and can be used for crime like making false identity documents.
All right, thank you. Now, uh, I think reputation loss, as far as you're at the individual level, I think this is what I was looking at. And I think if you are keen, there are three major personalities, I think, in the media industry whose Facebook accounts have been hacked. And actually, the hacker is doing or using their Facebook accounts because of what? For marketing purposes. Yeah. So people are asking, like, is this person really mad or what is happening? Yeah. So for those who know, they'll tell you that no, it's their Facebook account that has been hacked or something of the sort. So we need to take note. And where does the rain start beating us? That's what we should ask ourselves. So we have looked at all these: security with respect to confidentiality, and we have seen maybe the loose ends that we need to check. Try to read the two links that I've shared, yeah, just to ensure that you reinforce your understanding and knowledge on how to at least avoid, yeah, avoid this. Now, how do we tie all this together in form of a policy? Yeah. Now, a security policy is always essential in guiding everyone within the organization on what to do. Yeah. So this is a document. It could be a document, yeah, that creates or outlines some guidelines on how users should relate with the computer systems in the organization, as it communicates a common vision, yeah, throughout the company. So it doesn't matter whether you are the VC or you are the student. You have to really adhere to the vision that that particular security document wants. Of course, we don't have parallel policies. We need to have a single one that anyone that gets into RIARA, for that matter, must adhere to that particular policy. Of course, with the dynamic nature of the threats, we need to always keep on adjusting, updating this particular policy, so just such that it addresses the new threats or the new things that the organization wants us to conform with. So, what are some of the content, or what do a normal security policy has or cover? So we have the forward. Forward communicates the purpose. Yeah, what is it for? Yeah, so it should be very specific. Yeah, it should tell us the scope. Is it something that should go outside the RIARA university, or it only applies within the RIARA university? And if it is RIARA, is it all labs, or it's a specific computer lab? Yeah, so the scope matters. Who is responsible? Yeah, responsibilities. As a student, yeah, you are told not to enter with water or not to use flash disk within the computers. Yeah, so, and should you not follow what you are told? Are there right penalties for non-compliance? Yeah, of course, physical security needs to be captured. Yeah, so this one enables the organization to protect its equipment, data from unauthorized individuals. Identity management, or user IDs, yeah, we only need to work with people who we know. So if you are a student, or if you are a person who comes to RIARA and you want to use our resources, we'll ask you, are you authorized? That's why when you are gaining access to this particular Google Meet, I told you to use your RIARA email account. So that's a way of removing unauthorized. Otherwise, if we use other Gmail accounts, even non-RIARA students can be able to do it, to use it. So that's a way of managing our identity and also removing unauthorized. Of course, network security, we need to protect them, yeah, both software and hardware. Yeah, system security also needs to be taken into consideration. And of course, if we have or understand there's some kind of loopholes, we need to do some testing so that to ensure that we remove those particular breaches of security. Now, auditing is that particular action that we need to do periodically to ensure that our systems withstands the test of time when it comes to security. Yeah. So, do we have some malicious attack? Yes. So what should we do? We need to purchase other antivirus programs, such things. So we need to do some auditing on our computer systems. Now, what are some of the tips that you need to take note of as a user? Yeah, or if you are using either personal data, personal computer system, or organization computer system. I think most of them we have already mentioned. So I'll just I'll share with you the notes, and maybe you can have a look at them. Of course, we have ways that enables us to understand how we can effectively implement security within the organization, and as well how to thwart any upcoming insecurity within the organization. And if something happens, how are we going to roll back into normal operation? Now, this is courtesy of National Institute of Standards and Technology, which offers a framework that most organization uses actually to reinforce security within the organization. So the question here is, are you able to take or tell us what is within your phone right now? If it is stolen, can you be able to tell us these are the applications that were there, these ones are the passwords and usernames that you're using? So number one is to be able to identify either hardware or software that you have. Yeah, so the technologies you use, you should know them, so that in case of anything, we can always say that this application was here, so let us install it. The other step, number two, within this particular framework, we need to protect. Yeah, always they say protection is better than cure. So we need to ensure that we put protective measures in place, so that in case of any incident or disaster, we can always at least say that we had some protection. So we can have, as I mentioned, we can have intrusion detection. We can have some kind of alert system that is going to help us ensure that we don't have unauthorized personnel and so on. And that one maybe leads to the third one. We can have the intrusion detection systems. We can have the any detection mechanism, smoke and so on, just to ensure that our systems maintain the integrity. We don't lose or compromise data. Yeah. When you actually configure a server, we say the server is a dedicated computer within a network. The server should be able to provide the right security mechanism, so that if, for instance, you are an authorized user, it can always give you or send an alert that you are not supposed to actually access any kind of network resource. Now, how do we respond in case we have some incidents? Yeah, we normally say the faster you respond, the better. Yeah, you see, we have incidents recovery and disaster recovery. It is better to respond very fast before an incident turns out to be a disaster. Like, for instance, you keep on seeing your mobile phone restarting at some specific times of the day, and you just say that, I think that is just a normal thing. No, you must ask yourself why, and you should respond either by updating or trying to ask for help. Yeah, so let's not just see things and assume. Yeah, so the faster we respond to any incidents, the better we can, the better time we have to contain before it erupts into a disaster. And if it happens that the incident erupts into a disaster, then we should prepare ourselves to do what? To recover. And here is where we talk about business continuity plan. If there's an earthquake, if there's a fire breakout or out, we don't have enough power within Riara, or any kind of disaster that we have, how do we ensure that there's normal learning? Because students have to learn whether there's a lab, there was fire or not. Yeah. So we yes. Is there a question? So we need to ensure that we have recovery procedures in place, so that the loop starts all over again. Otherwise, most businesses normally ground when they can't be able to recover their businesses. Yes. So I think that will mark the end of today's discussion as far as computer security is concerned.